Jim, could you tell us a little bit about hand drumming?
I certainly could. The hand drum is a most important tool. It serves a variety of purposes, both in the physical world and the non-physical world. We know that the drum itself, sets up a vibration in the surrounding air. If it's used in the, let's say like a sweat lodge ceremony in Ipi, it will also put that vibration into that heat, into that water that's being cast upon the stones. The vibration itself has an effect on the physical universe. I'll use the Inipi, the sweat lodge, as most people know it, as an example. When you're actually seated, kind of hunched over, your legs are crossed, you're seated in there, the fire, the heat is very close to your legs. And without a drum, you feel that heat, the tremendous heat. The rocks are glowing red. But if you have a drum, and you drum and sing, it drives that heat away from you, back into the center. If you have the entire lodge, all the people in the sweat lodge are drumming, then it keeps that heat in that center, that focus. Otherwise, that person without the drum, they're almost cooked alive many times. So it actually can disperse heat. It can disperse the air around it. So we can use that to transform other people. If someone nearby, is having difficulties, you can use the drum and say, let's sing a song. And sing a very simple song, and that drum will change them. Because just like you push the heat back or you change the elements around in Inipi, the same way here, you will change the elements around you very subtly, but very powerfully. And so it's a device that I might say walks in two worlds. The physical world, it's a communication device. When you are separated, especially in canyon country, a drum can be heard a long ways away, the booming. And I'm speaking about a hand drum, not a drum like a conga drum or something like this, bongos. The hand drum is to be carried. It looks like a shield. And in the metaphysical way, the hand drum is a shield. People always say, oh, I see you in a dream carrying a shield. It's not a shield proper. It just looks that way. It's my drum. So drums carry a spirit of themselves, meaning they're like an entity. They take on energy, and they can expand, they can contract with the weather, with the circumstances. So it's very much like a living thing. The sound of the drum will change on its own, and you have to know what to do in order to bring a sound back or how to attune that drum. So there's a lot of things you need to know. I won't say it's a high science, but there's a lot to know when you're using this drum in the metaphysical sense, or when you're using the drum in the physical manner. The physical manner people hear, they can feel it. They hear the song you're singing, the rhythm of the drum, the cadence of the drum. This physically brings all the hearts that are hearing this, all the ears that hear it, all the hearts that are affected, are brought into the same rhythm this way. They all start beating in that same way. That's part of that harmonizing or making the union of everyone's hearts together. And the drum can do that very easily. It can have an effect on animals. I've seen it have effects on many, many different kinds of animals, including fish. It can have an effect on water. So the drum goes between worlds, the world of the animals, the world of the men, and the world of the second attention, or the other side. And this is why it's such an important device to have some kind of drum. I have a collection of drums, old ones, new ones, log drums, but mainly hand drum. And to have something that you can use to do this as a transporting device between the worlds. If you have no drum, if you find the right sort of stones, you can use those in a percussion type way, and they will take the place of the drum. So the drum itself has the more power, but if you have nothing else, you can use 2 pieces of wood, and that will work. And that too, it may take a longer, it may be a little more difficult because they don't vibrate, but they will create the same set of conditions that you're seeking. And that's the only other thing that is accompanying many times a drum is a rattle. And the rattle is usually a gourd that has seeds in it or small stones. And so they work together. You usually have one person will have a rattle. And I have 2, one from Mexico and one from the Yakima Nation. And I don't use those as much, but there's a specific use for the rattle that goes outside the realm of the drum. So it's something you have to experiment with. Each person who invests or buys a hand drum, you can get cowhide, elk, buffalo, horse hide. Each of these things will make the drum sound different or give it a more of a durability. Since we're in the field a lot, I use the buffalo hide because it's tougher. It's more resistant to the elements. And the cowhide, many times, if it gets wet, it will lose a lot of its tone. You have to take it near a fire and tune it up again. But whatever you choose, you wish to have this and look at it as a tool that you can use. It's not just something to keep beat with a song or music. That's the most obvious. But what we use it for is a tool to transport between the states of attention. We use it for healing. We use it for communication. We use it to send a message, in other words. And we use it to, when I say transformation, to change ourselves or to change others. And sometimes we change the environment. So it's a tool that I can only say that you must try to get something to use, a drum, and then experiment with it. If you don't have a guide, someone who teaches you a path or a way, then your experimentation will eventually take you to the same realizations that your teacher, if you had a teacher, would bring you to. And that is a level of intuitiveness that the drum and this sort of pursuit brings out in all of us. And I'm sure since you're listening to this, you have that ability, or you wouldn't be listening to this or even considering purchasing or creating, making a hand drum. Some people make them, you know. And so a drum can be almost anything you wish. You know, I remember as a child we had coffee cans with the lid on them, and we would use those. Oatmeal boxes. So anything that you can, you use. And you experiment, you grow, you take your time. The drum will slow things down many times to where you have that chance to observe yourself. So the drum is very self-reflective in that sense too. So if you ever do get the chance and you want to experiment, I heartily recommend it. And you'll probably hear some of my drumming on some of the videos that we will do in the future. And you've already seen me play the flute in the one video. So I'm sure that the drum will play a more of a major role here in the videos to come. So make yourself familiar with it and have fun. Thanks again. I'm James Keating.